The brutal killing of a young black woman and a tweet about white privilege. You on the road. Thank you for joining us on the road for reviews,
opinions,
and discussions. I'm Bruce.
And I'm Rahsaan. And once again, thank you for joining us today. And remember, as always, we want to hear from you. So you can reach us on the web at joinusontheroad.com and also on our social media at The Road Podcast. So feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Definitely.
You'll be able to find all of the podcast media that we're available on. And a bit of exciting news this week is that we are now on Apple Podcasts.
Oh yeah, we're there finally.
Yeah, the holy grail of podcast media. So we're very excited about that. So all you Apple users, welcome to the road. We hope you enjoy this show.
Amen.
So
enjoy, sit back and just enjoy the show with us, people.
Yeah, now today we have a bit of a serious topic at hand. Tragic incident took place, as you heard in the beginning of the episode here. A young woman, 18 years old. Her name was Nia Wilson, and she was brutally stabbed to death at the Bay Area at an Oakland MacArthur BART station in California. And this happened on Sunday night, July 22nd. She was allegedly killed by John Lee Cowell, who's a 27-year-old white male who's also a paroled felon. So,
I mean, you know, it's a tragic situation.
It really is.
Without a doubt, in our minds, and I would definitely say, first of all, that our hearts.
Absolutely.
And our prayers go out to the family of Nia Wilson, and also to all the families who have lost children through senseless inner city violence. But maybe they just weren't important enough for the news media to cover, for the politicians to address, or for some Hollywood personality to tweet about. And I gotta tell you, when I look at this whole story, and I look at the tweet as well, I do have some issues with all of this.
Yeah.
Now, looking at the story, I have an issue with the media coverage.
With the coverage, for sure.
And the media coverage, to me, I mean, let's face it. Let me just bring you up to this, and you probably already know. Well, the Bay News area news station, and that station was KTVU. Is that the station? That's a Fox 2 station, as a matter of fact. They aired a photo on the noonday broadcast on July 23rd of the victim holding what appeared to be a gun by her face with the barrel pointing upward.
Yeah.
Now, the news team grabbed the photo from one of her social media accounts.
Out of all the photos.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Think about it, man. Out of all the photos
that they had to choose from, because I've seen several different ones.
Yeah.
And I haven't even visited this young lady's social media profile. And I've already seen several just from the coverage. So there was no shortage of options.
And some of those photos probably came from my social media sites.
Absolutely.
That were posted online anyway.
Absolutely.
So they probably had a plethora of pictures. I mean, how many young people, man?
Yeah.
I mean, how much do you post up on pictures on your on
I'm not
your
even
page,
a big social media person.
Yeah.
I post up, I've got several selfies on my page.
Exactly.
So I mean, you got to think for, a young woman like, she's probably very into the social media. You got to be sure that there's several options.
18 years old.
Several options out there.
Yeah, so she's going to have a lot of pictures out there. But what do they do?
Several flattering options.
Exactly. What do they do? Through all the pictures they see, they go and they pick that particular picture and they aired it on the newscast that day. I mean, I have a problem with this because to me, all that does is reinforce the stereotypical bias people have regarding inner city blacks, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a big problem, and we've seen this happen time and time again. There's a reason, I think, why there was such a backlash about this issue.
And
it's not the first time that black person has had their picture put on, media, on the media of them that was not flattering, of the victim of a crime, but there's a mug shot up, or somebody got killed, but there's a picture of them holding guns up, and we all know what the optics of that leads to.
And the sad part about it is, when you think about it, I mean, most of the news media outlets have a way of depicting inner city black Americans in a bad light.
Absolutely.
I mean, they do it anyway, don't they?
Yeah.
And there are examples of that. I mean, first of all, they only do heavy news coverages if it's a seemingly racially motivated killing.
You gotta fit the parameters.
Exactly. Then they roll it out. Or how about when it's a white cop involved in killing a black man?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Then when that happens, man,
news coverage. Yeah.
When that happens. They roll out the heavyweights.
Yeah,
boy.
they're coming out like gangbusters, man.
I mean, the news media outlets come from all over, man.
From all over.
And they roll into that town, roll into that hood like gangbusters, focusing gaze on all the negativity and the violence taking place in that particular community.
Yeah, and it's interesting because they take a very microscopic look at what's going on in that particular community. And then they seem to mostly interview people who are, at the moment all hyped up, and helping to excite the
Tell
violence.
it, brother. Tell it.
And while they rant and rave into the microphone, using at times what's like profanity riddled, incoherent sentences, and this is what's blasted out to the nation. This is what's blasted out internationally as the image of black communities, inner city communities.
I mean, you just slammed the nail right through the board. And meanwhile, what are they doing? They're ignoring, for the most part, the larger number of peaceful residents in the neighborhood. I mean, the people who are there just trying to live, trying to survive. The people who are against all the violence, against all the rioting in the first place. These are people that want to see a peaceful outcome in their neighborhoods.
Yeah.
But yet still, there's the news media showing up, showing this day after day, the riots, the interviewing people who are really bad representations of the overall community. But I don't think the news media really cares.
No, and
what does it do?
That's exactly what does it do? All it's going to do is just reinforce a strong negative bias towards pretty much all inner city black Americans, if not all of them, period.
I mean, man, look, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I mean, and most times, I know for a fact, from talking to people, when you talk to people about certain areas, boy, they get a quiver.
Yeah.
They get a quiver in them, man.
Sure do.
You know what I mean? For crying out loud, man. You start talking about something like, meet me out in Philadelphia or such an area.
Yeah.
People, and I mean, black people sometimes and white people, they be quivering as well. Because, I mean, the people have this preconceived notion based on those communities and what the people in the communities are like. They just, they burn and they loot, they destroy their neighborhood, they burn things down, they're violent. But, that couldn't be any far from the truth. The fact is, I believe without a doubt, and I know you do too.
Absolutely.
The majority of these violent inner city ghettos are inhabited by hard-working, law-abiding American citizens.
Yeah.
And these folks are just simply trying to make the best out of a bad situation. Going to work, working their job, trying to scrape their money together, buy food, take care of their families.
That's it, man.
That's all they're trying to do. And all the youth are not in those communities, are not these bad youths that that they want to just hide in the dark and jump you. So the media helps to set this particular tone when it comes down to these stereotypes.
Yeah.
Because they show that over and over, and they're showing for days.
Yeah. And this is nothing new. This has been going on for decades, maybe centuries. Really, that the image of black Americans has always been skewed and tarnished in the media.
It has been.
It's nothing new. Meanwhile, you have, black people living in the inner city in poor neighborhoods across America, and they're being killed on a regular basis.
That's right.
And while all this is going on, you have these liberal politicians in Washington and liberals on the streets who are protesting and attacking conservatives over, some children who are being separated from their families after illegally crossing the border. But, we have problems at home that we have to deal with.
Yeah, and I think and I think you agree with me. And if you don't, just say it, speak it out. But I believe that the majority of Americans want the children safe.
Absolutely.
And they want them with their actual families. Yeah. And that might not be the people that brought them over. They want them with their actual families. You know what I mean?
Point. And I think we touched on this on a previous episode.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you want to go back to, I believe it was episode 2, I think.
I think it was episode 2. We talked about that.
And you guys can get a better feel for our stance on that.
And I believe this without a doubt, that the majority of Americans want to see that happen.
Absolutely.
We need to do something about the situation. But the truth of the matter is, while people are protesting and railing and going up and down the street, yelling and screaming, and the liberal left is freaking all over the place, this is a problem only the Congress can fix.
Absolutely.
And they can fix it by simply changing the law.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, the liberal politicians don't seem to want to do that. Yeah. They just want to continue to do what they're doing. Instead, they seems as though what they're trying to do is take these children and use them like pawns for their own political agenda.
Absolutely. And see, to me, that to me is something that when I see that, it really. It makes me feel bad for the children who are being used in that way, but it also makes me think, like, what type of person would try to use a child in that manner? It just doesn't, it doesn't look good to me. That's all I know. It doesn't look good to me
at all.
And I think that these are things that you have to ask. You got to talk about it. You have to ask yourself these questions. I mean, well, what's really going on here?
Exactly.
Why is so much being talked about, but nothing's being done?
Not a thing.
You can rant and rave and speak and whip everybody up into a frenzy over it, and then everybody goes home, and there's no meaningful or purposeful action taken.
There is
the issue to a resolution.
And you can't prove to me, from what I'm saying, that they want to do anything about it. They just want to keep holding this up, beating into the ground, trying to push an agenda, trying to push their platform. Yeah. And it's right. In the meantime, it's just not right. But in the meantime, while all of you liberals, including politicians out there and the news media, while you continue to cold-heartedly ignore the plight of American children who have been and continue to be wounded and killed in the war-torn, violent black inner-city ghettos, neighborhoods across the country, you continue to do nothing. What are you doing? There's a passage in the Bible that says, charity or love, or interpreted love begins at home and spreads abroad. Now, the truth of the matter is, we want to be humane to all people, especially the children. But we got to look out for our own as well. And at this time, I don't really see politicians, I don't see liberals looking out for American children at this point in time. I don't see it been happening. Instead, they continue to do what? What they always do, and what's that?
Nothing, man. I mean, all you got to do is take a look at, a lot of your long-term, states and cities that have been, democratically controlled or more liberal-minded, and you look at the progress or lack of progress.
I like the lack of progress
in the inner city areas. Some of you guys live in those areas, and you can see. You look around you, and you can see. The poverty hasn't changed. People they'll put these numbers out on the screen about how unemployment is down and this, that, and the third. But I mean, look around you. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to look up and down the street or to drive through the neighborhood and see that, man, people really aren't doing much better.
But the thing of it is, most of those neighborhoods that are war torn are in the hands of liberals.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Unemployment is down. That's a fact. I mean, we can argue with the numbers.
Yeah.
But by the same token, let's move on to the reality here that those neighborhoods that are suffering, they're suffering because the politicians continue to do what they've done for years.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely nothing. It's what they do. In the meantime,
yeah, you look at some of these cities.
the problem continues on, man.
Yeah. The killing continues on.
It does, but you know what? That's black killing blacks.
Yeah, there you go.
That's not a high priority, man.
Just leave that.
I mean, that's how it would seem, doesn't it?
That's how it looks, man.
Blacks killing blacks don't seem to be a very high priority on the politicians' list, and even all liberals out there in the street screaming and chanting all the time about save the children, save the children, but let me tell you something. Children being separated in the inner cities.
Absolutely.
All the time.
Being separated from their families, going into foster care. Children being separated from their families permanently when their parent gets gunned down in the street.
That's right.
When their parent gets incarcerated. That it's going on, and I mean it's going on in cities in America that are like war zones. I mean you got Detroit, Michigan, Baltimore, Maryland.
How about Camden, New Jersey?
Camden, Tennessee, Memphis.
Oh yeah, Philadelphia,
Philly, right up there. I mean, come on, man.
And don't forget, Washington,
D.C., man.
D.C., where you guys work every day. Look at out there.
I mean, I think in Chicago, man, they it's getting bad down there too.
I mean, but even look at California.
Yeah.
Now the truth of the matter is, that's a big state.
Yeah.
There are a lot of cities in that state, man. And there are a lot of impoverished, poor cities that are in trouble in the California area. I mean, I just named just a few, but there's a list of them. Oakland and Compton and Stockton, to just name a few.
Just a few, yeah.
And then to get back to what you were saying about Chicago, come on, man. I mean, look what's happening in Chicago.
Yeah. I mean, it's bad there, man. It's so bad that people don't let their children outside to play for fear of their lives.
That's right.
I mean, when you get to the point where you have community activists, right? Like community activists are calling for the mayor. Was it Emanuel, right?
Rahm Emanuel.
Yeah. I mean, they're calling for the mayor to resign. They don't want him to attend the anti-violence meetings, and they're asking the president to send out the National Guard.
It's bad.
When you're getting to that point, you're beyond bad. That's beyond bad. Bad is like, crime is up and,
you got a point.
Jobs are down. That's bad. Like when your citizens are requesting the National Guard, I don't know what word to apply to that, man. But that isn't enough.
The murder rate out there is so high, it is mind blowing. You think it's a third world country where some kind of coup is happening and people are trying to take over. I mean, it is just
right
that
here
bad.
In America,
right here in America,
in our borders,
right here in America, and these are things that are going on when you're asking the mayor to step down, and we don't want you to show up at our meeting. Doesn't that tell him something? But you know what? Rahm Emanuel's, you know what he's concerned about, don't you? He's all concerned about immigrants.
Yeah.
He wants to bring immigrants all into Chicago. He wants to look after, but the man is ignoring his own people. The constituents, the people that he took an oath to look out for, to care for, and to protect. He's ignoring them altogether.
Yeah, it's almost like he's washing his hands of them. So,
pretty much, because right now he cares about one thing.
I can't help these guys, so we're going to get these immigrants.
I'm busy with the immigrants right now. Yeah. Y'all black people keep on dying out there. Yeah. Y'all black children, y'all keep on getting shot. Black babies because right now, I got my mission. I hope his mission isn't like what Maxine Waters was, the call from God.
Yeah.
And we don't want to get into that topic. That was straight up lunacy.
Yeah.
But he doesn't seem to care about the people that actually voted to put him in office. And you want to know something? To me, that's a problem.
Yeah.
But then there's another part of this whole thing that's bothering me too.
Yeah.
You know what we talked about in the open.
Well, you got a lot of, when issues like this happen, a lot of celebrities want to kind of throw their hat in the ring and give their 2 cents.
One in particular.
Yeah, I think there was one in particular that got a lot of
an actress,
lot of attention.
Anne Hathaway.
Yeah. And
her message for white people. Now, I'm gonna read what's here from her. As a matter of fact, I got my screen up right here, and I have it right here on my screen.
Yeah, pull that up, man.
So,
yeah, this was an interesting, interesting quote. It's a lot to, I think if you really read it,
interesting tweet.
It's a lot to, there's some things to digest there.
There's a lot to digest here. So here's what she says. This is her tweet. And this is from Anne Hathaway. So, actress Anne Hathaway dedicated an Instagram post to the young black woman while condemning those who take comfort in their white privilege when racial attacks like this occur. And here's her little quote. White people, including me, including you, must take into the marrow of our privileged bones the truth that all black people fear for their lives daily in America and have done so for generations. I mean, these are in caps. All black people daily, and they've done this for generations. These are all caps. This is what she wrote. And she goes on to say, white people do not have equivalents for this fear of violence. Given those givens, we must ask our white selves, how decent are we really? Not in our intent, but in our actions, in our lack of action. Now, you got to help me here, man, because
yeah.
I'm kind of struggling with what she said in this message of hers.
Well, I think that the question here that we need to ask ourselves, with this statement is, this was a black woman that got brutally stabbed. How does white privilege fit into this? I mean, this is a man. This was clearly a crime of opportunity, and seems to be racially motivated.
Yeah.
But
I guess because he was white,
direct the narrative towards white privilege seems to be a strange avenue to take. I mean, if you want to talk about racism, if you want to talk about white people targeting African Americans specifically to for violence, I mean, that's another conversation. But to direct the narrative towards white privilege seems like
in
a strange
this
move.
context.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not sure how or where this came from. I'm not even sure why she gave that, to me, ridiculous message to white people in this situation. And in my opinion, I think the message was ridiculous. I don't know. Sometimes white liberals, they blow my mind. Mm-hmm. The way they see things, and all this white privilege talk that's going on right now. So how does white privilege fit into this?
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand it.
Yeah.
Can you understand it?
Yeah, I don't get it. And also the statement that all black people live.
Oh, say it again.
All black people fear for their lives daily. To me, that's another strange, and have done so and have done so for generations.
Yeah, all black folks feel their life daily in America, man. Are you scared, man?
Right, I can tell you right now, I'm not scared at all.
I'm not scared.
Not really
Most of the black folks I know aren't scared.
Yeah.
And haven't been afraid for generations.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how could she come up with this.
Yeah.
Look,
So I think it's one of those things where I think there was one thing in there that she said which was true, which is that that lack of perspective, what she doesn't have. And so it makes it hard to, so you want to try to understand, and I think she missed the mark on this one. I do think
I don't think she missed the mark.
Yeah.
I know she missed the mark.
Yeah,
and most black people I talk to, I even know some white people that feel she missed the mark on this one when she got out here and she decided that she was going to blast out this particular Instagram in this situation, which I can understand. But let me give you a truth. I'm gonna give you a truth as a black man in America. All black people do not fear for their lives daily in America. Do not fear for their lives daily. As you said, it is not a given. That is your opinion formed from where, I don't know where you got the idea from, but to me, it is totally off the wall. But I tell you one thing, we do live in a state. We live in a state of wide-eyed reality about America. And we also live in what I call situational awareness when it comes to our surroundings. Absolutely. Being aware of what's around us and being aware of what's going on.
That's it.
And that's the reality.
There's a difference between the two. So there's a difference between living in constant fear and being aware of your situation.
Exactly.
And I think that's the...
And everybody should be aware of the situation.
Absolutely. Everybody should be.
Take your headphones off. Look around you when you walk down the street. Be aware of what's going on, what's going out here. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, isn't that important to do?
It's very important.
I try to tell people, get your head out your phone. Look around. But I tell you one thing. I tell you this, man. One thing that I know for sure, and I can say this. Yeah. Now, there are those who may be living in fear.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's those African Americans, those black Americans who are living in those violent inner city ghettos all across America. Yeah, now they have fear. Yeah. They fear for the lives of their children every single day.
Yeah. I mean, they're not even safe at times, even in their own homes. I mean, how many stories have we heard about a stray bullet coming and striking somebody while they're sitting in their own home, minding their own business?
You know what? In July, there was a 9-year-old girl. She was in bed sleeping.
Yeah. I remember that story.
Stray bullet.
Yeah.
Through the wall and killed her in her bed.
Yeah.
That's people living in those communities, they are living in fear. While folks are shooting out there using illegal firearms, y'all. In the streets, they don't use legal stuff. They're using illegal firearms. Yeah. Now, those folks even fear for their children going to school.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
They don't know what's going to happen on the way to school, and they're afraid of what's going to happen while they're in school. Now, let me ask you a question. How many names can you name of just a few of the many black children and teens who have been senselessly killed as a result of inner city violence in America? You said name them. Say the name. How many names can you name? How many names can you say? Or do you really care? It seems to me, unless it's a media hype story,
it's a hashtag,
unless it's black on white thing, it doesn't seem to really matter. Yeah. And jump into this whole thing with that particular Instagram tweet, to me, was totally out of place. It was ridiculous, and it made no sense. We're not scared black folks, scared of white people, or scared of anything else. We're living in America trying to survive. But in those cities that we name, and as well as others, there are African Americans, there are black people who are living in fear in those violent communities.
But I'm gonna tell you what I think, man.
Lay it on me, brother.
I think that all of this white privilege rhetoric, all it does is really distract from the real issues in our black inner city ghetto neighborhoods.
It does.
So, what do you think, America?
What do you think? We're going to end on that word. I think that's a good way to end right there. Mm-hmm. Till next time. We'll see you on the road.
Peace.
Peace.